Alright, so it starts. Welcome and welcome back, Blender folks. I'm Pxy-STREAM and we are continuing with this, at this point, slightly experimental pelvis rig setup, because we pinned down it finally. Took more than 2 years from the beginning of my own learning of organic rigging in Blender to find what would be an elegant solution to this, to the artifacts generated by the deformed bones rotations around 90 positive or negative degrees. Of course, the Stone Age skinning algorithms that CG software employs usually, right? So in Blender we have linear blend skinning by default. So we have dual quaternion skinning, which is the preserve volume option. And by the way, I'm using preserve volume, so I'm using dual quaternion skinning, which is not recommended for rigging because, well, I wouldn't recommend if we need to export. It improves some of the volume loss artifacts, so we don't have to manually solve that with extra bones. However, it has trouble with it doesn't solve the horrible volume loss there that occurs in this case, for example. It can improve, so let's switch here, we'll see the difference. Okay, but it has a gigantic advantage, the linear blend skinning, in relation to this dual quaternion skinning which I'm using. So the linear blend skinning, maybe we have more work to do to solve some shapes, but it doesn't have this problem of let's use this for example. So if I rotate the foot more than, I'm calling it a warp artifact, right? You see what happens to the mesh? This is a warping artifact. It doesn't occur when we are on linear blend skinning. So if we see, oh, where it is. Okay, so this will be when it reaches positive or negative 180 degrees rotation. It will just warp. Of course, the foot, we seldom do that to the foot, but for the arms and legs, the upper arm and the upper leg, that is the thigh and the humerus bone, then yes, these limbs tend to have wild rotations, right? It's the human body after all. And then it is very difficult if we start with the rest position with the T-pose and we use dual quaternion skinning in Blender, it will, or dual quaternion skinning, I think it's same problem everywhere, it will have the warping artifact. So this is pretty dangerous. I don't know any way to solve this, so it's not for contortionist characters or highly action motion. However, this character is supposed to have high actions. That's why I have some sort of X pose, like analogous to an A pose, T pose. This is X pose. So the X pose in this sort of way will, I found out, is the way that either the arms and the legs, they won't, I mean, just focus the thigh on the upper arm. They, no matter how they rotate, the warp artifact is from dual quaternion skinning is very hardly will occur. I have extensively tried that, not so extensively to be fair, but enough so that yeah, so for example, if that arm, this is the starting position, right? So for the mesh, it's the mesh that counts. It's not the position of the bone on rest position. The bone could be here, it doesn't matter. It's the calculation from the mesh limb, so positioning on rest position, so on edit mode, right? So if I rotate this arm like crossing the body like here, of course this is impossible, right? So it wouldn't, unless yeah, it could get close, like in front of the body for contortionist characters, or in the back of the body. Yes, then we could have something that will reach that. Yeah, I'm meaning this on a complete. Yeah, you see, we don't see with the, but then we'll have an warp artifact. So according to normal motion of the body, this rest position for the arm is quite safe to avoid the same for the legs. So for example, 180 degrees negative would be this. Imagine a character, yeah, a contortionist must do that, right? The leg usually doesn't do that. Usually if the leg can do that, the torso bends forwards. So so if we need contortionism, we can't use linear blend skinning, preserve volume option. It will be disruptive. And same for 180 degrees on this. The leg would need to really go behind the torso, right? So that's kind of crazy. It can happen for contortionism, but then it's not over. We can also think of 180 degrees positive and negative for the z-axis, and we see this is all quite a lot, right? So it's not like it will happen every time. But then what about an inner rotation? No. Yeah, so it's unlikely it will happen unless we go on very exaggerated poses. There are, for the arm is more sensible. It's really, sometimes the arm can cross in the front. I haven't seen anything so far, so this is relatively safe. And if we think not, we can certainly favor a bit more of yeah, we can change this to improve the yeah, to literally push or drag the thing, the warp artifact, so it will occur later on the arc of rotation or before. So of course, if we affect one side, it will compensate on the opposite side. So we must be aware of that. And also here for the, yeah, if up and down, so here the arm could do, yeah, so if the yeah, so this is probably the most delicate thing, is when I want the arm to cross the body on the lower part. So here probably there could be some complication, but I haven't seen it. I have tried also, because maybe my rig wasn't so good that this pose was not very easy to do because of interpenetrations. I haven't finished, so maybe I couldn't see everything, but in principle, okay. So I don't recommend X pose for rest position, only for athletic characters, if you know what you are doing, right? Because myself, I'm not sure I know what I am doing. I know that this helps with dual quaternion skinning, but then if we export this to anywhere there's like a game engine that doesn't have dual quaternion skinning, we just will end up with, we cannot bake, right? Sorry, we cannot bake the algorithm itself. So we can bake bones, but the deformed bones baked, they will bring the skinning, they will use the skinning algorithm that is available on the software of importation. So we cannot export the skinning algorithm. So we'll end up with, if we don't solve things with the most simple, we'll end up with, instead of this in the outside, with this. Right, so I'm using it because I'm gonna animate in Blender. So this position, well, the X pose is good for, can be useful simultaneously for dual quaternion skinning, so I have easier time rigging, less volume loss artifacts. Still have to solve the most critical ones, right? Still have work to do, but hard work, because this actually it's inventive work, right? So we found the solution after long time. So what is the solution here? Well, it is, if you've been following, you know what I'm talking about. There's the text there, right, on the top. So we have stuff like, hold on, let me read the list here. So the title of the videos is wrong. 2 experiments. You see, there's a lot of experiments that I've tried. Most failed. So fan bone upper extension, not failed. Double rotating bend bone handler, double rotate, yes, not, yeah, useless. Useful as experiment, useless as a solution, as a good solution, right? Hip stiff joint fake displacement. This I gave up because I discovered something that I'll speak soon about, talk soon about. Mechanism mapping, mechanism bones for helper bone. That's interesting, yeah, good concept, but I don't need this thing. I still have them, by the way. So let's look at, here they are. So they're just mapping bones for the thigh mesh. They are bone constrained to the thigh bone, so they just move around. They don't do nothing, but I can probably, yeah, I can, using normal here, I can reapproximate this to the mesh. So it would be the surface of the mesh. They would be mappers for the surface of the thigh, so very precise, because the thigh, especially when it deforms with the rotation, more like in the joint. But so maybe these things should be more here. They give some visual, like points floating in space, right? So they could be useful for, yeah, you see. So I see the orientation of the thigh, but we see from the axis anyways, and also this bone could be bigger, right? So that we, anyways, yeah, it's annoying because I don't see its orientation sometimes, but whatever. And so what the idea is, we could use for bone constraints, but the problem is that sometimes the bone, that the deformed bones, they don't really need to reach a certain point. This is a blind spot, because they, let's say a bone like this can have, there's deformed bone here, the others are still, I need to wave paint those still yet. So I have nothing to do with, let me reach here, it's nothing, right? So if this thing was here, if all this thing was here, right, where yeah, so, but then I have to replace them, yeah, and so, okay, even if they were here with the right thickness of the type, representing, right, the original mesh before it starts rotating and deforming, because we lose the reference of space, right, in 3D. It's really hard to visualize without a model sheet. So this is good, this is going good, and actually maybe the mesh was completely distorted, the volumes, right? So it's that's why these things can be interesting. They kind of serve as a mechanism mapping, like we could have a cylinder, like an unchanging mesh that is just rotating. So then we could have a better idea of the volume, what's happening to the volume of the thigh. Otherwise we can really get confused from different angles, and that's very interesting actually. So So I still have those things, but I'm not using them. They cannot, even if I use them as targets, yeah, but this location has nothing to do with what I really want. So this is the example that I was gonna give. So for example, you see this is an action. I'm starting to use action bone constraints. So there's an action bone constraint here. I started with this only, but I'll use also here. And so what this is, let's see the action. Yeah, it's target the rotation of the thigh. Then this is the positive rotation of the thigh. This is angle value. I didn't know about that. This is, I found not in any tutorial of action bone constraint. This is stupid, lacking information, but it's on Blender manual. So I forgot that. I learned, then I forgot. I mean, I didn't know. Finally, I found out. Then if there's a tutorial, sorry, I don't know. I haven't seen they use this. So those tutorials are very short. They're not very extensive on the. And I think the action bone constraint itself changed the UI maybe. So unfortunately, there's not enough content on this thing, right? So for example, I haven't seen one for this kind of particular corrective armature deform rig, and this is what I call output based or output oriented, maybe it's more precise, output based or output oriented corrective method, corrective armature deform method, because that means that this position I didn't have to calculate it, like okay, I pose, then I know it's here that I want, but I didn't have to create, for example, if I were using drivers, or not for shape keys, just drivers, or perhaps shape keys suffer a similar thing, but it's a bit different. It's sort of hybrid in terms of input and output, but I think it's more of an input thing as well because of the driver system. So we need, so for example, I have transformation bone constraint I've used extensively on. So for example, this bone has some transformation. No, this is not the case. This one has transformation bone constraint. So this is a buttocks leverage bone. It's a deformed bone. Just it's not a bendy bone. It's just as it's leveraged the buttocks, and this one leveraged the belly because of the rotation of the thigh. So I have this motion that is doing, although I have posed this bone to know what I need, I had to calculate through, adding, so input based, right? And then this is how I'm calling that. And however, I have an add-on here which drivers. It generates drivers automatically with output based control of like the bones in the UI. So the problem with this is that for me it lagged my Blender, and I can't find just like wiggle to add-ons, so I'm not satisfied with this kind of rigging because I like to test a lot. This is just destructive to my workflow. Yeah, if it was the only way. So now I'm more into also I think for Blender 4 wiggle to add-on is not working. So this is the space. We need to make some nodes system here. It's a bit tricky in the beginning, but it's relatively simple. There are some limitations because we need to target, and sometimes we don't, it's hard. There are things we cannot access directly. So, but it works. It's very ingenious, but it lags. So at least on my computer. So this is very unfortunate because it's an output based. So it's very easy to set. So if I go on. So the action that I have here is this one, and oh, we don't see it. Okay, so I need to get the pose. Okay, I'm using leg bending, right? This is what I need to be here, right? So we Wait, this is not, no, it's wrong, folks. Yeah, I have so much it's this one, right? So except that I might have, yeah, I might have, let me reset. So okay, now it's good. So sorry folks, let's get here. Not too used with I'm an animator but I'm not used with handling all these things together. So let me give this position. I don't think it's necessary, but just to be sure, here is the action that I want. So what I can, yeah, it will just go to, why it reduce size? Didn't I save this? Okay, so let's go to 50. Then let's get this thing. Maybe I needed to do this. No, keyframes can be moved. We don't need to save them, I think. Maybe, yes. So anyways, so this is the starting condition for this bone, or it seems to be moved. Yeah, it seems to. Okay, now I'm a bit lost. It's like the action, it's like it's cyclic, it's crazy, it's like it's reapplying itself. I don't understand this. But the pose that I have, okay, I turn it off. I don't know how to handle this, but okay, let's turn it's turned off. So now I can see. So I've paused it. I wanted it to be, yeah, it's not saving, so I can do it. This is where I want this bone to be. So I don't have to input data in like a transformation bone constraint or a driver. I just have here this pose. This is good for the deforms. This is what I want. And then save as a keyframe, and then we go, there we go. Then I can go back to the main action, and then I can okay, so then the problem in this is that I'm not very familiar with. Okay, so yeah, it's double doing the action. Something is incorrect, I think. Oh, it's it needed reset. Okay, so just a stupid mistake from my part. So it will reach that from the rotation. So it's not very easy for me to I struggled a lot, but I'm starting to get the idea, right? This is not 180 degrees because I don't, this is not a T-pose, folks, this is an X pose. So I have already calculated that this is 90 degrees positive. This will be 180 degrees positive for the type, so it doesn't rotate all that. I just need something like, yeah, halfway from 90 to 180, so it's just 134, 35, yeah. And so more or less that, so this is an approximation, and that should be enough for, and if I'm not satisfied with this, so this is the positive 134 for the maximum, the range 0 start from here to what will be, well, somewhat there, and then this will make that this bone is bone constrained to yeah, influence on 100, type is the target, yeah. Then here I'm not sure what to get. I've read but can't get much idea. I think it's safer with after original, but maybe this is what caused some oddity in the, so maybe it's, maybe this is what caused that confusion I had there in the action, that it was stacking. I'm not sure, maybe I just paused this and didn't reset. So I leave like that, it seems to be working. X rotation, local space. Then okay, we talked about this. This is an angle on degrees, exactly what I need. And then the action, this is other thing, and then frame from 0 to 50. Let's go back and see if we still, so here this is reset. Let's go back to, let me just get the not bone manager, let me get the screencast, and then yes, let's go back to the other action. It's this one, help, because I don't want, since I'm creating lots of action, there will be help. Actually there are a lot of them. I would put them in the folder, but I don't think it's possible. I sort of dislike this idea of action. It's too delicate, but maybe with more practice I get used to it. Folks, rig folks, they are saying this is very powerful, so maybe they are right about that. Maybe it's a good solution, but those motion are so simple that really an input method should work fine, as I've been doing. But I want to do something different this time for learning purpose. I think it's feasible as I'm getting better in this, so it should be safe, right? So a single action for all the 4 little bones there, these handles, there are 4, right? Along those fanny bones all around the main fan bone, I'm calling it's a mechanism bone in this place, in this moment. So these handles are control bones, but they are all the structure here that is around the joint, right? Circulating around the joint. These, yeah, it's hard to select, but you got the idea, right? All these handles, there are 2 more there. So all these bones, actually they are on a bone layer, so bone manager. So why didn't I use this before? Let's hide this for now. We can hide this too. Yeah, so this is what I'm building in terms of helper bones here. Okay, this is also helper bones, fundamental, but not so much for the joint area. They are more for the other areas that require their own automation, are very delicate too. So we're gonna, so it's the crotch, it's the buttocks, and it's the belly. The belly is the least of them, but it relates to all this area here, so it's kind of relevant, especially for this kind of motion here. So it's something that I think it's required. Although the belly doesn't move like that in really when the leg bends, right? But if in 3D it sort of helps. And yeah, so and it's left and right, so this, I just have the left here, just as the buttocks, so butt cheeks, and here the crotch. No, there's just a central one. And so okay, let's go back. So I'm not touching these. Let's just make sure they are reset. Okay. So yeah, all these, the bendy bones, we don't pose them. They are parented to their respective start handle. There is one direction here. It's, we see here what direction it is. So they are following this. This is looping this in this sense. So and they are all connected, right? Connected, I mean, the loop is, the bendy bone splines are connected between themselves, looping sequence, but the handles, they are parented directly to the fan bone. So the rotation of the fan bone is moving everything, and the reason why these rotations are not causing horrid artifacts is because precisely the whole purpose of the main fan bone is to derotate this area of the upper thigh, which suffer crazy deforms with artifacts, especially here and well, here too, but the critical problem is the top. but all of it, it's complicated. Also in the inner parts is very complicated in the interaction with the belly region and the crotch. And also yeah, because the main purpose of this one, the main fan bone, is we can use it as a deformed bone, but the main function of it, it's set the derotation of that mesh region in relation to the thigh bone. So as the thigh bone rotates 100% according to our demand ordering, we order it to rotate, this one derotates in some amount that we can set up according to our to the rig. The more waves, the more stronger are the waves of these bones, or this bone, whatever, the less this derotation needs to be. So as we see, if you see it is lagging behind, so the more we rotate, the more it lags behind, and this goes in all directions. And so if it's only one single bone doing that, like this one, and being a deformed bone, it's not the case. That's why it doesn't have a reddish, yellowish color, reddish color. So it will do some job, but for a complex joint like the pelvis on an organic rigging, even a cartoon character like this one, this is very good analytic method, but it's the simple fan method. It opens like a fan, right? This is why an oriental fan. This is why perhaps fan bone. But the other fan bone is really because the more complicated to understand concept of I'm calling this fanny bones. So it's not exactly this. I'm mixing methods here, folks. Usually what I've seen was that it was as 8-star bones spreading apart, so there will be deformed bones, probably parented or bone constrained to this one. In this case I've parented, right, only these ones, while the bendy bones are parented to their respective, so that's okay. And then the other thing is stretch too. So this whole fanny bone structure follows the rotation of not the thigh but of this helper bone, the main fan bone of the oriental fan. And this, because it's circular and it can open up like a, if I was using regular bones, we could have like a star shape on all directions, maybe 4 directions, maybe 8 directions, whatever directions. And this looks like a household application fan, like a machine fan, right? So the concept has these two ideas: is the fan here, is the fan here. This is the most unknown technique ever of advanced rigging. No one seems to have sorted out that I've seen on tutorials. Like this one, many riggers are using already, old school riggers especially, and it works, but this is even more powerful. And I only figured this out because I was attempting to connect this in my investigation. I was trying to use this as a deformed bone instead of a mechanism bone, and I was trying to make what I already do, profile bendy bone splines, that it will be like this, but not as part of this derotation, because I was worried that the derotation, by making these bendy bone splines rotate on brutally like that, this will cause artifacts, just like this caused artifacts by rotation. What I just forgot, I forgot many things, but my big mistake was to misunderstand that, wait, actually, if these deformed bones they rotate, they derotate exactly as the derotating bone, and their wave paint is relative to that area. So this means that their wave paint are derotating to start with, just as the main I would say main fan bone. And this means that they are doing what I was already using, that this bone as a deformed bone was doing to correct in an analytic way the mesh. So all these bones are doing now, they don't compete waves with that, because this is not a deformed bone anymore. It could be, they would just stack together, doesn't make difference, but it's more organized this way, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but so these are, I'm splitting the functionality. So this is just for the main rotation, the main derotation, and all the other fanny bones, mini fanny bones, mini fan bones, whatever. I'm calling this fan bone, and these others the fanny bones, whatever. Even this is another approach. This is a mixed approach, because this is I think a Pixar technique. There's a video out there on YouTube that they talk about curve net, and what else? Yeah, whatever. So this is taken from that idea, but it's not a cage mesh along all the body, over all the body, it's just locally. And this doesn't solve artifacts very well. This solves artifacts quite well, but this then we can use, they have the primary motion of the derotation, which is controlled by the mechanism main mechanism fan bone, and then whatever subtle details, because it's a very complicated region, even if they are not wave painted, also gonna complete that, then I can do this on top of that. So it's additive, it's not like, and since this is not a deformed bone, and these are just about this region of wave paint, there are no competing, there's not, yeah. So I've already explained on last session what I did so wrong about taking waves of this bone or from elsewhere, so I'm not gonna re-explain that this time. Okay, so a lot of theory here, a lot of conceptualization, but this is very, very important, because apparently very few people know about this still yet, and this is a 2005 concept, right? Idea. Very I've just realized it this week. It's unbelievable. But okay, so my plan here, folks, is to continue what I'm doing here. So I've already got that simple derotating oriental fan bone as a mechanism. Okay, that's correct. Advanced household appliance fanny bones as profile fanny bone splines. Okay, so this is the next step. So this means that I'll need to give them wave paint. So currently only this one has wave painting. And it's a bit tricky now, because yeah, this one already has an action bone constraint. So what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna turn it off. So I just want to deal with the ratios from a starting condition, right? Then I bring up any other automation for the fanny. Is the fanny profile bendy bones splines helper bones. Yeah, so that's what this is. It's a combination of techniques. So what I need to do here, so just to complete the listing, so then I have later to complete the action bone constraints, output based automation for these fanny bones, then last assessment of wave painting on whole pelvis rig, which is more like just a general assessment if we can do anything else. So if I can reach that last thing, then that will be fantastic, and that would mean that I'll probably have had mostly solved this rig, even though meaning the experiments will be completed, and now and probably successful, but there would be some retakes I'll probably would like to do anyways, because this is still also because I'm not doing this in a very well ordered, because I still need to retake this mesh prior to any editing of the rigging of the pelvis, so it's like I'm doing things in a bit chaotic way, but for a good cause, because this would be the let's say like that, the ultimate solution for pelvis rig, and that certainly would demand some sort of tutorial. I'm not sure. So I'm gonna go for the wave painting. So for now, what I was looking for, yes, I have this selection. So I don't intend to go too much into the joint region, although it might be important, but I'm trying to stay at this distance, because who knows. And I don't want to reach the middle of the body, because I think it could be dangerous. So I'm just keeping these selections. Let's start here. I have this thing, but okay, so this is wave paint here. Let's does this wave paint requires any correction? Note that I'm giving quite strong waves on this, because I'm sort of trying to reproduce the original waves from the mechanism bone there, the main fan bone, which was something like that, right? So it's not operating, because this is not a deformed bone right now, it's a mechanism bone. So these waves are just there for reference. Maybe I want to reuse it. It doesn't, it can, I could do that, because they are blending waves on the same region nearly, and they are stacking ratios, right? The stacking waves, so it's stacking is the same rotation, so they are moving in sync. It won't do nearly nothing if I activate this thing. It could even help rigging this stuff easier. The problem if I do that, however, is that this will certainly take waves from the bendy bones when I want to do this. This means that it would become, I'll need to offset this way more to have the same. So this might not be a good idea, actually. So no, what I'm gonna do now, there's a bend, this could be useful. So I think here let's retake this. I want to add some more waves here, and why not here too. Here maybe I could get, the problem is that I'm on add, and this will keep adding, right? So instead let's try mix. I finally learned, I hope I don't forget, Shift X to take the value of a point in space. So here this already starts the other spline, so I'm not going too much further ahead here, but smoothing should be fine. So let's use this instead. blended waves here should be fine, because they are neighbors, and that's it. Shouldn't hurt too much. Should actually be positive for smoother things. Okay, we got here. What about this part? I'm not sure if I should smooth this. Maybe very slightly. That should be enough. And then, of course, I haven't tried, but it seems feasible. Look how strong this thing is now. It barely offsets, so this is nearly a perfect no, not nearly perfect, but yeah, this is an accurate, relatively accurate profile bony bone spline. It's quite good to, yeah, the mesh doesn't follow, right? Because the thigh, deformed thigh bone is already taking waves from that region, besides the fact that perhaps the lower spine bone is taking waves from this part of the thigh, so I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. Yeah, it's taking a bit. So the important anyway is that this is, it would never be 100% because it because of the complexity of this region. I cannot just take waves from this, right? Like, oh, let's reduce, then zero this out. That what will happen is that this will have an independent, totally independent rotation. That means that, well, you know what? This is open to experimentation, and that's quite valuable if it works. The problem is that, yeah, it's already taking off waves from the thigh near the joint, so it's already going there. But I fear that if this stuff here, right, the stuff that I'm making here, they have all waves, full waves, and this has absolutely no waves on the thighs, the whole thigh, it will be very hard to match their rotation derotation, because there will be barely no blended waves there. And so this is why blended waves sometimes is essential for smoothing out. So you'll have very easily the thigh having some, this one part pointing in a direction, the other part in another direction. So that will be very ugly and very easy to happen. That's why I think it will be very, but it's an interesting thing to test out. So I'm gonna consider this later on as an experiment. I don't think if I should. I don't think it should make part of this live stream series here. So okay, we started with that. So this is the forward. Oh, the names are wrong. It's like I haven't saved the file. Yeah, I have made change to all this. Okay, this is annoying. It's as if yeah, there's normal things like as if let's see, what's the name of this? No, still it's not the last time maybe I didn't save after all. Oh, there's this, no, there's this, but this is all wrong. Okay, what about this? Is also not what I want. Maybe I'm just getting confused. So maybe it's, what about this one? No, this is much older. Okay. Yeah, this is older, certainly old. So I maybe I just lost some, forgot to save. Just so let's check. Yeah, definitively I messed up something. I didn't save a file, so let's redo something here. So these names are very, namings are very bad here. So let's solve this in a moment. So fan type left. Okay, so this will be okay. Let's change these ones. Control F2, bones. So this final replace. Yes. So I see the name here. So keep control, but then it's Fanny and that, control Fanny. So it will take off. It will replace that with that. So this will be easy to map that exactly. It's in the beginning of the name. Alright, so now all of them are named Fanny. Then let's do this same for these ones. So this is def Fanny. Alright, but then we need to change, I want to change this classification, which is horrible. So this will be like a front left. Okay, so this is front, this is out, meaning outside, this is back, and this is inside. This will be in between front and oh, I took wrongly. It's this one is in. These are not a name that I think, maybe the back is symmetrizable by, yeah, maybe this is a mistake, but I don't think this will cause any problem. These extra names I'm giving are not, should not be conventional. They are just a way of it. So this is forward, front in. This is front out. Out. This is out. Yes. So front out, front in, back in. So the front and back is before the sides, and this is back out, and all these are left bones, left-sided bones, so they get the .L in the end. So that is okay. I'm gonna save now, and let's continue here. This is not yet symmetrized, so we'll have this annoying thing there because of the mirror modifier. At this point, should I symmetrize that thing? No, it's not required. So I'm going to, at least for the moment, we'll keep like that. Maybe I can just hide that. Yeah, maybe. Hope this doesn't cause some issues, but this is not face rigging. I don't have, there's not shrink wrapping here. I think this will be fine. Alright, sorry for the let's go for wave painting on this. So next thing to wave paint would be perhaps the Yeah, since I'll deal with the front area, let's use this one. Let's enable the mask, and let's use the okay, so I must know the starting position here. I must map sort of where I want stronger waves. So this will be the one of the limits, right? So I want, you see, one where one spline start to meet the other. So I want strong waves here, strong waves here. So there are not too many mesh, right? To mesh density is quite low here. It's low poly, not ultra low poly, but quite low poly. So there's not too much to wave paint. Maybe this is bad for. Then same thing, I'm going to, if I go back here, which is annoying, Shift X, I want this value here, 0.411. Okay, that's easy to memorize. So I'm sort of using the same, could be 0.4, just it will be much simpler. Here we want blended waves, but maybe I should do that with the, yeah, so there's not much to blur here, so let's blur very slightly in these regions. Here we can also blur this. That does this, no, it doesn't reach there, so this was just wishful thinking, but we could have, yes, this should help actually. So since I have the selection, let's do it, and I'll go back in the other bone and also do this. Alright, then here maybe, why not? Yeah, let's get some slightly more waves here. Shouldn't be bad. And here, let's do some work here. That should be fine. Then let's take this off, the mask off, change bone, and let's do the same here. So here I want this. It's very subtle thing, but it can help. Yeah, you see, it's kind of smoothed out very gently, so that's usually good. Here, let me change this. Same here, this could be beneficial because this is, yeah, here I'm not sure, maybe maybe this is too far away. Yeah, maybe it's an exaggeration. So, but it would make sense because the logic, there's the red, then there's the 400. Yeah, this is perhaps necessary. It's so low that it shouldn't be bad. Here we can, and then the problem here is that we reach the crotch and the middle of the body, so there's, and I don't want, when there is bendy bone splines involved, wave painting the both sides, it's complicated. I don't know how to explain right now. It can go crazy. There are very certain specific problems can arise because the bendy bone is elongated. It's not just a point in space that holds waves. It bends, and this bending on its elongated side axis can cause certain undesirable problems along the extension of the mesh. It's like you move one side, the other side gets deformed. And imagine this unsymmetric. So you move here, and then the mesh here moves. It's like there are some alternatives, but we don't usually want to have bendy bones. This is a very obscure knowledge about bendy bones. And so let's see. Okay, this sounds okay, although I haven't tried. Wait, we can go further, right? I did it wrong. I think we need, yeah, we can go further. So here, maybe I want stronger waves here. Maybe not red, but that is fine. And then here, let's get something more arbitrary. Yeah, I'll get this, and here like this. So here, let's extend this slightly more. This looks good. All right, this should be okay, even though it's a bit strong. The gradient, maybe I should consider another. We'll see. In principle, yeah, can't know yet. So I think this should be, let's see some what that does. Of course, maybe this is better to see here. So in terms of waves, we don't see, as in terms of the forms, let's see what this allows us to do. So we have some, yes, we can, from this angle we see that this is sort of interesting. This should work. We see here there's some here we can perhaps from the from the interior, maybe we can see what's going on with interpenetration. Very interesting, very interesting. Yes, I haven't considered this using a without mirror modifier, so this is an interesting solution to work around this problematic. Yes, there is a feature that allows to check interpenetrated mesh, but it works for edit mode actually, where it is. So it's yeah, it must be on. So this is a problem. We'll have to, it's complicated to address it anytime, but we can, even on animation, right? So I'm on edit mode for the mesh object, and on an animation, in the middle of animation, then I can check. Yeah, so but I'm not on wave paint mode, right? So it's not that useful. Where it is, not this, it's here, I guess. So we got, where's the option? It's something called mesh analysis. I don't see it. Maybe I, oh, it's here. Okay, it's overlays. It's not that thing. Or is that thing? Oh, this is a new, what is this? Is this from Blender 4 thing? Mesh edit mode. Alright, this is for edit mode. Okay, I didn't know about this, sorry, this is new for me. So now this is for developing stuff. Mesh analysis. Okay, so here we go for intersect. Yeah, the intersect is interpenetration. Face area. No, just that. And so can we bring this to another mode? I think not, but we see the red mesh is suffering interpenetration. Show bones x-ray. Oh, this is another thing interesting. Wave paint overlays. Okay, yeah, so we cannot see that from wave paint mode, but we can check here occasionally. But we got some idea. Right, those are seams, so we shouldn't confuse them with this red part. Yeah, I don't think this is very relevant right now. So we can see enough here, right? So this, the fact that I've hidden the, yeah, so the very complicated thing is to get this mesh interpenetrate the slightest, and at the same time, yeah, it's okay to interpenetrate, but I think slightly, but its shape must be the best regarding artifact, because even if it doesn't, yeah, here you see the artifact, right, the volume loss, so, and it's still there, right, we can see it. I want to limit it, right, so this is very difficult with that vision, and we should avoid, but then for it to grow mass it needs to interpenetrate. So here we see that it's sort of good, but then the interpenetrations grow wilder. However, this is when I could come with the idea of the, let's turn this off, I could turn on with the idea, I could bring the idea of the belly leverage, right? So if I have here is this, maybe this bone here should be maybe it needs more waves there. Something that I haven't developed is a side structure like this, but then this bone is sort of, oh, it is not covering. The buttocks can cover. Okay, so maybe I should add some more waves there. Yeah, just in the side here. Yeah, so to do that, I have to lose my careful selection, but I have saved it in the, so what I'm gonna do is let's ignore this analysis for now. We're not gonna use that. It's here, so mesh analysis, no. Gonna unhide. Then I need, let's take like this, unhide this, then yeah, wrong, I need the L with some normals, hide, L, hide, then yeah, there's some mesh there, hide all like that. What is this thing? Don't know what's that. We'll figure out later elsewhere. So the point here was to give this bone a better influence on the side, right? And the idea that I was having, why don't I have a side hips leverage? Never thought about that. Sounds promising, especially because in this rig that I have here, this is mostly for this thigh, upper thigh joint region. These bones should never reach here. It will be bad because these bones are wildly rotating. Remember this? So we don't want that. However, if I separate, these are not rotated, these are from the torso. So they, just as the spine, they have another condition of existence. Yeah, it will be pretty accurate if but there's nothing wrong, I believe, in having some more blended waves, more strain for this. Let's see the wave paint. Yeah, this have very subtle waves there, so let's just give this belly leverage just a little more of stuff here, waves, and that should be helpful, I think. This is not a bendy bone, so it should be okay to share waves in the middle portion. If the bendy bone spline is really a profile, like the profile of the nose is centralized, is a unique and not left and right, and it's not crossing the left and right, okay? And yeah, it's also probably something about symmetric mirroring of the wave paint, right? So for symmetric mesh that has automatic symmetry generation, like mirror modifier, symmetric bones, all that, well, symmetry is bad, like but if the bendy bone splines, the unique case that I know that is the safest one is, like, if I have one for the nose, I'm not gonna show here, but you get the idea. If just a single one that is not left and right, it's central, and it's not crossing, something like that, but it's vertical along the plane of symmetry, then this bendy bone spline will take waves from both sides. That's symmetrical. This is fine, perfectly fine. The problem will be if these ones would touch the waves there, then the legs would, yeah, so this is confusing, but it's not good, right? Okay, so this belly leverage, we have some more shared waves there. I think that should be fine. Let's see if this improves anything. Yeah, I was looking for the interpenetration there, right? So I get this bone. We can push it up, push it back. That maybe some contracting muscles on the belly. That's not too bad. So okay, I barely see any difference, but I think maybe it has improved, and let's reset those stuff anyways. So we see, oh, you see where all the interpenetration from this angle, right? So we certainly don't want that, right? This is too much. This is ridiculous. The belly doesn't do that. So this is a mechanism problem. This is why perhaps we could play with that, but that if I do this will be the last thing I would do here, because there is some tilting, there is some in the rotation due to the algorithm, how it operates. There is some deforms, strange deforms of the displacement of the volumes. This is why if this follows the thigh, they can be useful to map, and this is why the leg, it's something about the pivot point and how the mesh follows. And yeah, ultimately it's also about anatomy, how the body responds to to all that. But here it's something that really requires some very special attention because it's really complicated to figure out what's going on, what is natural, what is unnatural. And so I fail to understand why everything goes wrong. So there's a great deal, yeah, maybe this is going, maybe this should, yeah, so this is a later thing, so this will be more generic, right? So I shouldn't be taking care about this now, but it's just curiosity. We are learning ways to cope with all that. And you see here it's cleared in, oh, that's good, the wave paint from the inner side without the mirror modifier. This is really helpful to check out what's going on inside. So on one hand, we need to push down this thing as it goes up, because it's like this is taking too much volume. So yeah, so this will help breathing of all that, but at the same time I cannot just, yeah, I need to do that in a way that probably needs some slight rotation. I need to do it in some way that it will be harmonious overall. So if we check here without, yeah, so yeah, from this angle it's very bad. So this is something that needs to be approached very, very carefully, and rotating, and finally that will be the pose the action that for the on, yeah. So we see that, yeah, this is also bad. Yeah, still not good. I'm not satisfied with that. But okay, so folks, what I need here is maybe at this point it could be really interesting to get that side bone. So currently we have this. Let's duplicate this. They all have the same orientation, so we're gonna bring this to the side. So what would be the side, a good position for? Let's put it like here, or yeah, something like here. Let's see from a, the position is arbitrary, really. It's just an approximation. Doesn't need to make a lot of sense, because it's the wave paint that responds to it. So we're gonna call it leverage hips left. And that is exactly what it will be doing. So on edit mode, okay, the part is the same, is command hips, which is on pose mode. We don't see right now, but it doesn't matter. It I have copied with the transformation bone constraint, which is bad because now it's gonna move in a crazy way, but it doesn't have any wave paint, so I think I'm gonna just get rid of the bone constraint for now. Let's just add some waves to it. I've never made this bone particularly. We could turn all this into a spline, into a of its own, a sequence spline, just not circular necessarily. Maybe circular with the crotch. Kind of crazy because the crotch is in the middle. It's plausible. Yeah, that will be. It's not necessary, folks, but I'm thinking this is not too bad. If I could match the connection of these, it could be interesting. Yeah, it's not a terrible idea. It's just the middle part is obscure. How we're gonna do that? But it could be reliable, but for now we are gonna ignore that. Let's just have this mesh. I absolutely has no risk on wave painting everything else. This is not mask modifier, so it's mask from wave painting, from edit mode. The mesh is hidden, so there's absolutely no risk on wave painting outside. But I don't have a selection, so I'll have to, well, I could have, let's, on top of this, let's hide some stuff here. Not hide, sorry, I mean let's select something. So I select in an inverse way, so what I'm gonna do is just do that and then I invert. And so now it's just a detail here. So we're gonna the waves that I need, that I have been using, is about Control X 0.5, right? So I'm gonna get some 0.5 here as a mix, so this is not being adding until 1. I'm not sure exactly what should leverage to which extent, but it's a blended wave, so that should be safe enough. The belly, I don't think I want too much. Maybe the hips, the upper thigh here, it's good. And then the buttocks, yeah, the side of the buttocks is interesting. Of the gluteus here. Let me turn this on. Okay, a lot of waves here, so maybe there's too much. Let's see how it. That's not too bad. We want some waves here. Maybe I want more strain near the in that part even. Here we can have blended waves a lot. Maybe a lot of flesh here. So fat, yeah, that is very flexible. So yeah, we can have here very very low waves. It's a bit bizarre arrangement, but I think it should be fine. Let's try this. Let's blur out some waves here. Let's test. Okay, I think it's too strong here and too weak in where it would be. Well, no, this is not bad. Maybe more here. There's a, yeah, and not so much here actually. More string and near that part. Let's see. Okay, we can even move it back and forth, so this is interesting. Can shape some bony anatomy parts that could be relevant. Why I can't blur this? Sometimes blur, it doesn't answer very well to, it's too weak sometimes. Alright, this okay, it's not perfect, but look at this. This is interesting. It's starting to get interesting. At least it's quite smooth, right? And yeah, more here, and there we go. Okay, so that is fine. here, yeah, this ended up not so well. Let's try to retake these two. Why not push this? Now this will take waves from that. Yeah, let's ignore. Let's not touch that. I don't have the correct mask here, but we'll just avoid. It seems that I don't need all this strain here. Something more subtle. We wanted more to the side, right? So maybe with mix, let's get .3. Okay. Yeah, let's get something here. It was, maybe it's important, and I think it shouldn't, the low waves here should be fine actually. So low that it shouldn't be too much destructive to the, let's get the back bending. So the belly having influence over this on very low. This shouldn't be yeah, okay, this, and then just a last blur. Yeah, maybe that's fine. You see those very low waves, they sort of are usually adequate if it is not, if we are careful enough to not disrupt the artifacts countering stuff, right? Alright, so but this bone is doing nothing. We can move it in sync with that, so this can be useful. There's no let's give some, okay, let's give it some, let's copy this and then let's change. So this is the front bending of the leg, so I'm using the same map from, it's the positive rotation of the thigh, same target, same stuff there, same settings, so it's just the map to, I'm gonna zero this out. This is a completely different bone, although, so what we can do here, should I move this, let's see, yeah, moving up might be fine. So I want to, we could play with the buttocks in this position. I haven't played this, it's just have a back bending thing, so we can make it play, this whole thing play on many, here I'm not using action bone constraints. I want the action bone constraints only for these ones, the handle bones. Personal reason, maybe I want to change that later because there's the diagonal things, so I want to test everything. The fanny bones here, I want them to see how this ends up for the fanny bones if I'm satisfied with action bone constraints. And so I have two methods, the output oriented method with action bone constraints for the automation, and the input oriented method, that is what I'm doing here. So what is this location? Oh, this is, what the hell is that? Oh, this is the crotch bone. Okay, that's why I had this is slightly experimental. So yeah, so what I want for the front here in this input, so you see it's all zero out, so it's a maximum that needs to be yeah, we want, so what we want this to go up on the front bending, right? So this seems to be, yeah, this is too much. Creates according to the, so just something like this, 0.2 is already, no, actually this it's acceptable. It's a bit strange, but maybe this helps. Or maybe I can with shift get some, it's control or shift, wait, no, shift left click. Okay, so let's get some intermediate value. Sometimes this is better to navigate, to use this sometimes. All right, so 0 point something like that. All right, so we got this. It still looks okay. Then should it go back or forward? Well, it's not like the hips will go back and forth. No, there is a logic here. So I think the hips that maybe it moves forward, even though mesh wise here it might be looking bad, but let's try. So to go, so forward means a negative value, so it would be like that. Yeah, so maybe it's strange, but it might be rational. It, at least maybe we can try to match some reality things. Maybe there's, it will improve interpenetrations, which is bad, but why would I bring that back? So it's like yeah, let's try to be organic here, real life stuff, mechanism, right? So this can be good enough. Then next we want to perhaps x, oh, the x, yeah, we can play with the x. So x would be something like that. So this one is very hard. We see lots of issues here. So maybe I should avoid this negative. Maybe we should get, yeah, play with this. Maybe reduce this, not so much. And then can we do anything here regarding, is this, ultimately if it looks good, is that is what we want, right? So I'm tempted to increase this to the, so positive x. So yeah, I'm tempted to get something like that. So all right, and then for the buttocks we can also, let's use a copy thing here. Control C, is that it? Control C, copy selected constraints, copy this one. Okay, so this is a add-on, inbuilt add-on. It's copy attributes, just inbuilt add-on. It comes with Blender. Very, very powerful for rigging. Then I just copied this bone constraint, so let's put it in the front because it's about the front. So it's the same thing that I will, but I'm gonna negate this. Let's see. So as this is for the back bending still, as this goes back, but as soon, so it's neutral now, 0. And then there's the front bending. Maybe we want this to have some, could even play with rotation, but so we could start with perhaps slightly negative here. Then, oh, this is the opposite, folks. This is different because this is, oh no, the map front, it's still positive, so this is maximum. So no, it's still my mistake. It's so it's on the maximum that needs to work. So here for the side, yeah, this will move in sync. So this is positive x, So it's like the this is causing some craziness, but this is because of the mirror modifier. As soon as I turn it on, this shouldn't, yeah, should be okay. We shouldn't exaggerate too much. See what's happening there. So because this bone doesn't have left and right, it's causing this kind of effect. So you'll just not exaggerate this too much, so just slightly positive, maybe a little more. Yeah, we'll fix that when we create symmetric bones. Actually, this could be already symmetric, I think. And then yeah, this, okay, this we need to, so I want to reduce the protrusion of the butt cheek on the, because it's like the leg is going forward on the front bending, I think. Yeah, there's some, the spine has some pressure to go to, yeah, to this, everything that the back, the end of the spine tail, right, it's, I think it has some pressure to, anyways, I've seen this and I think it's accurate, but it doesn't need to be too much. And then this part here is interesting. This moves back, like it's like the leg has some, it's not like the leg will do that. On the contrary, there's, because this is because of the algorithm, I think. So there's a lot of volume loss, so we need to repair that, and we can use the buttocks leverage to kind of, you see there from the front perspective, that will be too much. We don't want that to be affecting the crotch, so we can build this like sort of like that. And from the front view we can also fix some yeah, make some changes here. This barely changed anything, and here, yeah, this changes a lot, so we'll give it something. We don't need to exaggerate all those things, because there are still these bones that come into play, but I haven't finished their way of moving. So let's just symmetrize this on, and I think they what is that? Okay, I think they, since their target is already is symmetric. I'm not familiar with this. This is for the pose system, right? Pose new pose library they evolved. So here, so this is, seems to be working for, yeah, maybe there are some issues on symmetrization, because the thigh, there's some systems of the leg that I haven't fixed, but in principle this is, so only the crotch is not and even let's change the color of the crotch, because now let's change the yeah, this stuff, so I stopped getting confused about it. Yeah, let's make this, yeah, they are too elongate, we don't need that, so let's do this, and yeah, let's make this very tiny, so now we can differentiate better. And let's get to the last wave painting there. At this point I could also symmetrize all this structure. I think this is already symmetrized, but I'll have to check. Now I'm not gonna symmetrize. Let's finish the wave painting, then we symmetrize. So here, okay, this is done. This, let's say it's done. Did I retake the expansion? Oh, I need to remake the selection. I think I have the selection. Okay, I can use this maybe. Yeah, this is a good idea, but maybe here I'll need more manual selection. Okay, let's accept this. Yeah, for whatever, forget what we have here in the whatever it was, fan pelvis. Well, we can do Control Z. Let's see, and select Control pelvis. Okay, okay, I'm gonna use this. It's what I have been using for the selection. So here, let's get two more, just two more bendy bone. This is the height, so this has an exclamation point in the beginning, so it's, if I sort things by names, these are always on top. Then come the depth forms, and I don't like that my modifiers come at the end. This is wrong named. Mod, this is also a mistake probably. Accidentally wave painted control bones. And yeah, so modifiers, they go at the end. It's all stuff related to, this is just selection set vertex group for wave painting or organization. Very important if we are very good for especially armature deform, face rig. Yeah, face rigging. So let's, the shapes are starting to develop well in all this setup, but we need to, okay, so here we need to find the spot that is the interface. The mesh should be, let's get a better pose for checking this, what's going on here. So alright, so I need to wave paint this, and here we see there's some things here we need to, but that's more advanced. So yeah, so let's get some waves here. I prefer the back bending here. It's in the end, near the end. So we want to, yeah, it's this bone, it's confusing sometimes. So yeah, I'm very confused now. This is the, oh, okay, it's near the thigh. Okay, so it's, okay, so this is the back in, so it's just, it's near the crotch and in the beginning of the butt cheek. Yes, so it's this region here. So we start with very strong waves. So, and as we reach for this area, it's all not visible. We need to, and as we approach here, we see that we could have waves. Maybe here we have more expansion because the butt cheek is a protruding area that requires more, that has more volume, so it's not like the pubis. So we can have this for this inner part. Maybe we don't go that far, but we can reach up to this part, and here we can get these waves here. This is about 0.3, I think. Now on blur I cannot check, but doesn't matter. So we can, I know that it was about it. And so here we need to consider, okay, maybe I blur here. Here certainly we need blurring a lot. And this is where I'll probably need to, yeah, let's change the Yeah, so back bending, we see that something here is bizarre, so let's blur this thing. The colors are confusing here. It's like it's... So here we see that without correction, without posing, currently we don't have, we don't see very, it's even hard to wave paint this part here. So here I think we need to expand here. Yeah, okay, so that will be the last expansion of these blended waves. And here it's really complicated. I don't know if I should blend this out. Yeah, maybe I should blend this out, but I'm not sure. And then perhaps I should add waves to particularly just, yeah, let's add to, I cannot add, it's not adding. Let's try this. Okay, it added. So, and here I need to try to, yeah, let's try to add, but a less amount here. That should be fine. And in principle here we don't have, let's blur more here. Maybe try to push. No, not working. Not working. Yeah, this in this direction. Okay. And then let's blur that. And here too. So it's not clear, but I think that we can start solving these waves then after, yeah. Yeah, so this has good control apparently of that area, and along with what we do with this. Okay, so this is the, let's apparently the waves didn't. Okay, this got, for some reason this didn't symmetrize. Now it symmetrized. Okay, so apparently we have good control. Yeah, very good control here. This is quite anatomically interesting. This is actually very impressive, folks. I wasn't expecting this. I mean, there's a long time I don't get results so solid as this. In such an easy way. I barely didn't do anything. It's good concept, right? Good rigging concept, folks. It's not, hard work is important, but for experimenting is important, but good rigging concept, good theory, good methods play a big role, because this stuff of complex joints, even simple joints. Another rigging challenge is like very, very complicated. If only we had more advanced skinning algorithm, we wouldn't have to deal with all those things, those complications. But they exist, but there are solutions. So this is a very old solution. I mean, some concepts I'm using here, some techniques I'm using here are from very old time, the fan bone rig system, folks. So just one bendy bone spline remaining, just one, yeah, this one. So this bendy bone, hold on, folks, just check something here. Okay, let's go back. So this time, yes, I can start from this. So we see that we need waves here and here. So let's start. It's sort of an approximation, so I think, yeah, here, hold on, even gonna mix, so I gonna get, yeah, so blended waves can start here, but not that strong. We can keep that for now, but I'm gonna, so they, here I think it will be the strongest, and this, so start to map the, it's hard with this low poly to be sure the splines are not exactly matching the vertices, so, and the shapes are difficult to navigate at some, in many instances. So here this is very elongated spline, so we can have this extension here, and then here I think we should need something, yeah, here is the, we can do that, yeah, here we are starting to blur this thing. We can have blurred here, I guess. This shouldn't be bad, just some, they are all rotating. This is not problem, because so much problematic, because all these bones, they are, provided we don't make some crazy rogue waves, right? If it's regular, if it is gradual, it should be fine, because they won't conflict too much. They won't conflict. They're just, maybe one will push too much, then we de-push from the other. It will be regular enough to not be a nightmare. So that should be fine. But if some waves are extrapolating too much, like even though they are very slight, maybe we don't want that minimal push when we are posing one of the bones, so the handles, so we then we might consider taking off waves that we, yeah, excessive weights, right, that we extrapolated when it wasn't really a good idea. So here we can maybe blur here, yes, let's blur that, and then there is the possibility to expand this. The problem is, what I must really be aware is that this is a bit complicated. This is the these bones are rotating crazily, the mesh, so theoretically this should cause lots of problems, but then provide okay, let's see this. Okay, so there are waves of the type, and these are derotating the type, all these bones. So the problem is that they are sharing waves with those things, so, and spine, so, and they are doing all these rotations. So maybe I should, yeah, so we see that here there are some things that are bizarre, but this is because I've just created them without any, so this might require some, maybe we have to, yeah, this is a mess, but then you see, because I have some, is the buttocks left, yeah, so maybe I'll have to yes, let's do this right now, because this is a nightmare. If we, fortunately, this is incredibly easy to solve at this point. It shouldn't, and maybe because of what I was talking about, the concept. So transformation, now it's not this one, it's this one. So this is what's older. So I made this bone constraint automation before I made the wave painting, right? So this is something that, this is why this is failing, right? But with just a few tweaks we can improve by a lot, but then we need to check the progress. It seems to be accurate, but yes, of course I need to, I zeroed out everything, yeah. So, okay, I zeroed, apparently zeroed out everything. So let's see if we can redo this part. So it's difficult to tell right now what is the... So you see, because of there is interface of highly rotating bones, and here, yeah, those bones for the torso region, then we have this discontinuity here. This is probably because of the high rotation of these bones in relation to these static bones at the moment. So this is something that it's very hard to smooth out, but it should be feasible by maybe adjusting the wave painting in this case, but also because of these things are very accurate. The good thing is that the worst artifact is being solved solely by this derotation here. So if it weren't for these bones, we would have something much worse to deal with. So in principle, things are going, I won't say as expected, but in principle things are working. Leverage hips, leverage buttocks. Now this is the, I want the, oh, look, like it's very high. It needs to be very high, so I need to cover more here. Actually this goes positive, right? On the back bending. Good. Yeah, it was even on the, I think, the wrong direction. I put it negatively. It needs to be positive. It needs to go backwards, I think, for the good shape in this case. And we can, doesn't need to go that much at this point. It will keep going up, right? Oh, okay, so there's a gradual problems that we need to solve. And let's see, we could also consider rotation, but it's not really helpful. Sometimes it's very seamless to solve it, and so this is, does it go? Okay, so this is input based thing, so this is why this is, can be annoying, but this is not the only way to handle that, right? There are other ways. So even with all that, we see that it's still difficult, right, to handle. It's still hard work, but with a good rig system, even the hardest thing, what would be the hardest thing, eventually becomes much more intuitive to solve. It's not like nightmarish. It's a bit complicated right now, frustrating, but it's not like it could be much worse. Trust me, I have dealt with this kind of stuff with worse, less precise systems, messy systems, and it's more than irritating. It's like maddening. And in this time, because we have a very basal good structure, we have more options to handle this thing, and so this is not it's sort of under control, but we still need to figure out some things. Maybe smoothing out the wave paint will be a good idea here. Let's just check without the mask. I did in a very analytic way the wave painting, and maybe if I of this, what was that I was wave painting? Oh, yeah, it was one of those bones. All right, so no, these ones, yeah. See, it's not very good if I could just blur this better. Maybe we could use some yeah, let's try and I'm not sure this will be a good idea. Any case, we go back. So let's try this. So Alt select, Alt select, Alt select, and Alt select. Okay, so they all have this. Let's try to smooth, and let's give it some iteration, at least one iteration. Factor, smooth factor. Now we want to keep very strong on some area, but we want to expand. Yeah, let's try maybe 2 iterations. That seems too risky, but it's already expanding and blurring. All right, factor, can we expand that? No, the factor. Okay, let's try this. Not much has changed, but it seems reliable. Let's see the front bending. I think it was, maybe it will help in the future. Yeah, it seems reliable. Here this maybe is too much. We need to, let's reset everything. Let's see. So the fanny bones, the small here, they are not automated. There's one with action bone constraint, but it's disabled, so I do not have to. It is not moving. Why? What's happened to? I've enabled it. Why it is not? Why does it doesn't respond? Something. Oh, I've made some mistake there. Oh, I was just posing something. Yeah, I posed one bone and started to move. I needed to automate that. Yeah, so okay, so this I'm gonna save, and I have already fixed that, but I think it was from an automation perspective, and actually it will be that one. Yeah, so I posed that, so that will be something like that. So this bone needs some sort of automation to help with that, and I don't have it. So as I moved it, I thought it was fine. I reset, and then we get this. Then this, maybe we can, without any automation for the fanny bones, this could, maybe this is too much. So yeah, but I leave it like that because this is a reference of what we want, but probably this is, there are different ways to solve that because they are blended waves. I fail to understand why my action didn't return. X rotation, local space. It should, as this bone goes here, it should be here. So it's just after original. Maybe it relates to this. No, it's just not. Responding. So it's like I have lost the action bone constraint. Let's try it again. It's like it is reset. Yeah, I didn't reset it. I don't know what happened. So why it is doing this double motion? I pose it and it depose. Oh, that is stacking here maybe. I don't know. Yeah, so I see. The property doesn't save into action for. Okay, it exists here, but without the action bound constraint. And so as we go back to the original action, it's disabled, but okay, now it's back. No, it's not back. It seems that it's static, like it's not started. No, it's an illusion. It is working. It's just, if it weren't working, this would not be doing this at this point. But as it go back, it doesn't move, so it means, yeah, it's just Sarvox is just an illusion. So it was working, and if I go back here, yeah, so this is the action, and I don't know about this, but certainly, yeah, so it's working. So I wasn't able to conclude the, if we check here, advanced household appliance bending bones as profile. Yeah, okay, we did that. Then complete action bone constraints output bit. Yeah, so this is next, what I cannot do today. We spent already, it's already too long. And but this is the next challenge, and then last assessment of wave paint of full pelvis rig. Yeah, all those leverage bones, the crotch bone, whatever. So if I can solve this, of course this interrelates with, they all related, so this is why this is complex, but we have, at least this time, I have a powerful system for the deforms that is reliable. The only problem really that I'm having is, the major problem I'm having here is not so much about, yeah, I have to deal with those techniques that I'm not familiar with, the action bone constraint, but the only thing that is a bit annoying here is that I need to find out these. Oh, I got an idea. Yeah, okay, so I'll have to integrate the input based or input oriented automation of these bones with the output oriented integration of this, that I'm using action bone constraint. The fact that I'm doing them separately is making things apparently much more difficult, because I do one, then I do the other, then yeah, if I do them all at the same time, I'll find the shape that I want and I'll click that. That will be the same action bone constraint. I'll copy to each of the bones. So these, and all these, yeah, the left side at least. The crotch has its own automation, so I'm not touching it. I could, but no, I usually no. I think it's not required. I'll try to avoid that if I can. So all of this bone will have the same action bone constraint for example, a front bending, high front bending, then perhaps for a diagonal side, yeah, front diagonal bending like that. Not sure, but yeah, we'll skip the diagonals for now, and side bending will do that, and then so there will be 3 action bone constraints for all of those sets of bones. So it's just 3 actions, but each action, maybe 5 if we consider the diagonal. I'll find that later. So for each diagonal, for each action bone constraint, I'll need to set all the bones simultaneously, the fanny bones and these pelvis related independent bones, right? And then as I get this as a single actions, right? 3 single actions, then these will solve without this confusion that I just made here. Although it works, it means probably more back and forth. It's more prone to error. So I was just doing that because I'm familiar with this method, while the action bone constraint corrective method I'm not so. But I'm learning, and apparently it will be favorable, might be even easier to develop. Yeah. Okay, folks, so I think that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'm going to continue this this stuff, but we are mostly reaching the end of this. Maybe this deserves probably deserves a tutorial, but it's another story, folks. Hope you enjoy and could learn something. Feel free to ask any questions. There's the chat for that. Now I'm leaving, but next time, whatever. So take care, happy blending. See ya, folks.